Have you ever stopped to ponder what differentiates a democracy from a kingdom? Governments, in all their complexity, exist to maintain order and provide public services. They are the structures and mechanisms through which societies make decisions and enforce rules. Now, let's focus on two types of government: democracy and kingdom. Democracy, derived from the Greek words demos, meaning people, and kratos, meaning power, is essentially rule by the people. In a democracy, citizens have the right to elect their leaders and participate in decision-making processes. On the other hand, a kingdom is a form of government where power resides in the hands of a single monarch who inherits their authority. In a kingdom, the monarch, be it a king or a queen, has the ultimate say in the affairs of the state. Now that we have a basic understanding of what a democracy and a kingdom are, let's delve deeper into their differences. Imagine a system where the power lies in the hands of the people. Yes, that's democracy for you. Democracy, a word derived from the Greek demokratia, literally translates to power of the people. It's a system where citizens are not just subjects of the state, but active participants in its governance. They share in directing the activities of the state and are vested with the supreme power. In a democracy, decisions are made based on majority rule. Each citizen, regardless of their social standing or economic status, has an equal vote. This equality in decision-making power is one of the core pillars of a democratic system. Democracy also values individual freedom and equality. It recognizes the inherent dignity and worth of every individual and provides them with the freedom to express their views, to associate, to dissent. It's a system that seeks to balance the needs of the individual and the community, the freedom of the individual and the security of the state. So in the spirit of democracy, every voice matters, every vote counts. Before we move on to the rule by one, let's take a moment to explore some systems that attempt to strike a balance between the extremes of democracy and autocracy. These are systems like republics and constitutional monarchies. In a republic, the head of state is not a monarch, and the roles of the head of state and the head of government are often separated. Unlike in a direct democracy, citizens elect representatives to make decisions on their behalf, providing a buffer against the potential pitfalls of majority rule. On the other hand, constitutional monarchies feature a monarch as the head of state within the parameters of a constitution, which outlines the powers of the monarch and other branches of government. The monarch does not have absolute power but shares it with a parliament or similar body. It's a system that combines tradition with democratic principles. These systems aim to combine the best elements of democracy and monarchy, providing a check on absolute power while still allowing for strong leadership. They show us that governance is not always a clear-cut choice between power to the people and rule by one. If you're enjoying this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications to stay updated on our latest content. Now imagine a system where all the power lies in the hands of one person, the king or queen. Welcome to the kingdom. Here, the concept of power sharing doesn't exist. The monarch, whether a king or queen, is the supreme authority, the alpha and omega of decision-making, and these decisions are not subject to any constitutional restrictions. This means that the monarch has absolute power, and their word is, quite literally, law. This power isn't earned through a democratic process, nor is it based on qualifications or merit. Instead, it's a birthright, passed down through generations. The throne is inherited, and the rule continues either for life or until the monarch chooses to abdicate. So in essence, a kingdom is an embodiment of autocracy. It's a system where the entire realm is under the thumb of one individual. There's no voting, no public opinion polls, no debates. In a kingdom, the word of the monarch is law. Ever wondered how a biblical demonstration of government might look? If you're picturing a grand council of elders casting votes, you might need to think again. The Bible often employs the language of kings and kingdoms to describe God's rule. This is significant, as it frames the divine authority as a monarchy, not a democracy. Consider the numerous biblical references to God as a king. The Psalms frequently hail him as the King of all the earth and the Lord of Lords. The book of Revelation 2 paints a vivid picture of God's royal majesty. This kingdom language speaks volumes about the nature of divine governance. It suggests a top-down structure, where God's word is not just guidance but law. This isn't to say that God's rule is despotic. Quite the contrary, It's characterized by justice, mercy, and boundless love. So, in the biblical sense, God's government is a kingdom, not a democracy, where God is the king and his word is law. Having explored the concept of God's government as a kingdom, let's bridge the gap between this divine monarchy and modern governance systems. How does this biblical model of rule resonate with our present-day political frameworks? Is there a place for divine monarchy in our democracies, republics, and constitutional monarchies? Some might argue that a spiritual kingdom is incompatible with a secular state. However, it's worth noting that many of the principles we value in our modern societies, justice, mercy, and love, are central to the concept of God's kingdom. These principles can serve as a moral compass guiding our political decisions and actions. It's not about imposing religious laws, but about fostering a society that upholds the values of fairness, compassion, and respect. So while our governments may not mirror the biblical model in structure, they can certainly embody its spirit in practice. Stay tuned as we delve deeper into this fascinating topic in our next video.